Today we are going to talk about something that makes traditional investors lose their minds, using leveraged ETFs. And not just any leveraged ETF, we are talking about TQQQ and QQQ3, the triple leveraged Nasdaq beast that most financial advisors tell you to avoid like the plague. Now before the comment section explodes, yes, I know what everyone says about leveraged ETFs. The conventional wisdom is that they are not meant for long-term holding. Everyone will tell you that the decay will kill you, that you'll blow your account, that only idiots hold leveraged ETFs longer than a day. But what if I told you that the reality tells a completely different story? I've been running a backtest that's going to blow your mind. Starting with just $10,000, this strategy turned into almost $2 million. We're talking about a 41% compound annual growth rate, with our best year hitting an insane 200% return. This isn't some theoretical model, these are real numbers that challenge everything you've been told about leveraged ETFs. Before you think I've completely lost my mind, let me show you exactly how this works, and more importantly, why it works when everyone says it shouldn't. Let's start with understanding what TQQQ actually is. At its core, it's providing a 3x daily leverage to the Nasdaq100 index. When tech stocks move, TQQQ moves 3 times as much in either direction. This is where the most people get scared and run away. But for us, psycho investors, this is where the opportunity begins. The conventional argument against holding TQQQ long-term centers around volatility decay. They'll tell you that the daily rebalancing will eat away all your investment over time. And yes, in a choppy market with no clear direction, that's exactly what happens. But markets don't just move sideways forever. Let me tell you something that most people get completely wrong about risk management with TQQQ. While everyone is screaming about daily monitoring and stop losses, I've discovered something much more powerful through my backtesting. Look at these numbers again. 10,000 turned into almost 2 million over 15 years. You won't find this kind of returns anywhere else in the market. My approach is actually the opposite of what most traders do. Instead of constantly watching and trading this position, I buy TQQQ aggressively when markets are bleeding red. When everyone else is panic selling tech stocks, I'm loading up on TQQQ. And here is the psychopath. I hold it. No stop losses, no daily monitoring, no profit taking. The backtests proves that the simple contrarian strategy outperforms almost everything else in the market. Yes, we saw almost an 80% drawdown in our backtest. Most investors would run for the hills seeing numbers like that. What happened next? The recovery was explosive. The same 3x leverage that magnifies the downside also supercharges our recovery. This is why I don't average down or use stop losses. The math shows that simply holding through the chaos and adding more during major market crashes is the most profitable strategy. Think about it. What other investment gives you the opportunity to turn 10,000 into 2 million? In just 15 years. This isn't some crypto moonshot or penny stock gambling. This is a regulated ETF tracking the biggest tech companies in the world. The only difference is we're using leverage to amplify those returns, and we are brave enough to hold when others fold. Think of TQQQ as your portfolio rocket fuel. Right now, it's sitting at 4.35% of my total portfolio. Not because I'm scared of it, but because even this small position can significantly amplify our overall returns. When tech stocks take those massive hits, like during the COVID crash or 2022 tech sell-off, that's when we strike. The beauty of this strategy reveals itself during market panics. While everyone else is writing articles about the death of tech and how leveraged ETFs will go to zero, we are quietly accumulating TQQQ at fire sale prices. The math is on our side. Even if we catch falling knife, the long-term compounding of 3x leveraged on tech growth is simply unstoppable. Let's break down these returns again. Almost 42 compound aggregated growth return means your money is doubling roughly every 2 years. TQQ best years saw almost 200% return. Yes, it also saw brutal drawdowns, but here is the psycho truth. Those drawdowns are our best friend. They are our opportunity to add more rocket fuel at discount prices. Think about the TQQQ is actually tracking the Nasdaq100. We're talking about companies like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Nvidia. These aren't speculative penny stocks. These are companies building the future. Now add 3x leverage to their growth trajectory, and you can see why our returns look like they came from another planet. Listen, I know this goes against everything you've been taught about leveraged ETFs. Every financial advisor, every investment book, every traditional resource will tell you I'm insane. But numbers don't lie. Show me another strategy that turned 10,000 into nearly 2 million in 15 years. Show me another investment that captures triple the upside of the world's most innovative companies. There is no such one. And here's the really exciting part. This isn't about past performance. Tech innovation isn't slowing down, it's accelerating. AI, quantum computing, biotechnology. The Nasdaq100 companies are the forefront of these revolutions. Now imagine capturing 3x their growth over the next decade. Yes, you need nerves of steel. When the market tanks 30%, TQQQ can drop 90% in a day. But here is what separates psycho investors from gamblers. We understand that these drops are temporary, but the upward trajectory of the innovation and progress is permanent. We are not just betting on tech stocks, we are betting on human progress itself with leverage. So how do you implement this? First, size your position appropriately. For me, that's around 4 or 5% of the portfolio. Second, keep dry powder ready for these massive drawdowns. They're your best entry points. And finally, and this is crucial, develop the mental fortitude to hold through the chaos. No panic selling, no stop losses, no trying to time the market. Remember, the goal isn't to avoid volatility, it's to use it to our advantage. Every major crash is an opportunity to add more. Every leveraged ETFs are dangerous article is a signal that weak hands are shaken out. While they focus on daily decay and theoretical risks, we focused on the bigger picture, capturing explosive, life-changing returns over the long term. Here's something crucial for my European psycho investors out there. TQQQ, like many US leveraged ETFs, is only available to professional investors in Europe. The regulators think these instruments are too dangerous for retail investors. But guess what? We've got our own version right here in Europe. Enter QQQ3, the European equivalent of TQQQ. It's the exact same concept, triple leverage on the Nasdaq100, just packaged for European markets. Same explosive growth potential, same underlying index, just a different wrapper that's fully accessible to European retail investors. The strategy remains identical. You are still getting that 3x leverage on tech's biggest names. The same principle applies. Buy during major downturns, hold through the chaos, and let compound growth work its magic. Whether you are using TQQQ or QQQ3, the math doesn't change. For my European followers, this is huge. You don't need to jump through hoops or get professional investor status. QQQ3 is right there on the European exchanges, ready to be your portfolio's rocket fuel. Same exposure, same strategy, just a different ticker symbol. This is why I love the European market. For every restriction, there is usually an alternative. While the US funds might be off limits, we've got our own tools to capture these insane returns. Whether you are trading QQQQ in the US or QQQ3 in Europe, you are executing the exact same strategy that turned 10,000 into nearly 2 million. You can buy QQQ through any major European broker. The liquidity is there, the spreads are tight, and most importantly, you are getting the same exposure that I've been talking about. This isn't about watered-down version, this is the real deal, just with European regulatory compliance. Let me show you exactly how to implement this strategy with QQQ3. The principles remains exactly the same as with TQQQ, but let me break down the specifics for European investors. First, you'll find QQQ3 listed on major European exchanges. The liquidity is strong, but here is the pro tip. Always use limit orders, especially when you are entering larger positions. The spreads can widen during volatile periods, and as psycho investors, we want every penny working for us. Now, timing your entries. This is where the real magic happens. Remember how we crushed it with TQQQ strategy? Same rules applies here. When do we buy QQQ3? When tech is getting absolutely massacred. I'm talking about those days when Nasdaq is going down 3%, 4%, 5% or more. When CNBC is running tech wreck headlines. When Reddit is filled with loss porn. That's when we strike. Now, here is something specific for European investors. The tax treatment that actually be more favorable with QQQ3 compared to US-listed ETFs. Depending on your country, you might avoid the complexity of dealing with the US tax reporting entirely. Listen up, because this is crucial. This isn't a day trading instrument. I know it's tempting to try to timing every swing with 3x leverage, but our baskets prove that the real wealth building power comes from holding through the chaos and adding more during major crashes. The Nasdaq100 has been one of the most powerful wealth creation tools in history. Now imagine capturing triple those returns over a long period. Yes, you'll see your position drop 60–70% during bad times. You'll have friends and family telling that you are insane. Financial advisors will say you are committing financial suicide. But while they are focusing on daily volatility, we are focused on those 15 years returns. Show me another accessible European investment that can turn 10,000 into close to 2 million. You won't find it. It's why we stayed psycho. This is why we hold through drawdowns. This is why we buy when others are panicking. The beauty of this strategy is its simplicity. No complex option strategies, no daily monitoring, no stop losses. Just buying during blood in the streets and holding with diamond hands. The hardest part isn't the execution. It's having the mental fortitude to stick for the strategy when everyone else thinks you are crazy. European investors. This is your chance to implement the same strategy that's been generating insane returns with TQQQ. Whether you are using the US or European version, the underlying principle remains the same. Long-term holding of leveraged exposure to the world's most innovative companies. Remember, while others are paralyzed of fear of leverage, we are using it to build generational wealth. This isn't gambling. This is calculated aggression backed by historical data and a deep understanding of market dynamics. Look, I've just shown you something that most investors will never understand or have the courage to implement. While they are chasing 8% annual returns in index funds, we are using the power of leverage to target the kind of gains that can genuinely change lives. Numbers speak for themselves, 10,000 to nearly 2 million in 15 years. This isn't some crypto gamble or penny stock scheme. This is a systematic approach to capturing amplified returns from the world's most innovative companies. Whether you're using TQQQ in the US or QQQ3 in Europe, you now have the blueprint. You know exactly when to buy, how to size your position, and most importantly, why this strategy works when everyone else says it shouldn't. But knowing isn't enough. The strategy requires something more: the courage to act when others are paralyzed by fear, the conviction to hold when others are panic selling, and the vision to see beyond daily volatility to those life-changing long-term returns. If you are ready to join a community of psycho investors who think differently about wealth building, smash that subscribe button right now. Every week I'm dropping new content about strategies that most investors are too afraid to even consider. Remember, the market will give us more opportunities like 2020 and 2022. The only question is, will you be ready to act when others are running scared? Will you have the courage to implement strategies that could generate truly life-changing returns? This is Psycho Investor, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay psycho, stay profitable.